This conference will now be recorded.
The United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Karen, could you please read the sunshine statement and take the roll call?
Sure. Ms. Batra?
Here.
Ms. Hughes?
Here.
Mr. Litt?
Here.
Ms. Codestale?
Here.
And Mr. Dopty.
Good.
Pursuant to the Open Public Meetings Act, notice of this meeting has been given by filing written notice with the township governing body and the township clerk, mailing written notice to the township's official newspapers and the township website, posting written notice on the official bulletin board in the Chesterfield Township Municipal Building, and providing notice to all who have requested same.
Thank you, Karen. Do we have anyone this evening who needs to recuse themselves from anything on the agenda? No. Seeing that we don't, I will ask for a motion to approve the minutes for January 23rd and January 29th. Second? Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I abstain from, Karen, I was not,
The 29th.
29th. I abstain from the 29th.
Okay. So we'll take that as with that abstention from Matt for the 29th.
So noted.
I'd like to open the meeting for public comments pertaining to matters on the agenda only. I'd like to remind you that we are limiting people to 3 minutes, all inclusive, and that there'll be no transfer of a speaker's time to other attendees. And please state your name and address for the record. Can I have a motion to open for public comment on matters on the agenda?
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Do we have anyone in the audience this evening that would like to make a public comment on a matter on the agenda? If you have something you'd like to comment on that's not on the agenda, you'll have an opportunity at the end of the meeting. If we don't have anyone, Karen, do we have anyone online?
No.
Okay, I'll take a motion to close public comments. Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
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 Move along, we have an ordinance this evening for introduction, ordinance 25-2, an ordinance amending and supplementing chapter 110 of the Code of the Township of Chesterfield entitled Fees. George, did you want to give us a little bit of a background about this ordinance?
Sure. This is a new, it's basically based on the administrative code for the state, and it allows the municipality to apply a surcharge with construction permits with a $2 per permit surcharge, and the funds are dedicated towards electronic processing for construction permit applications. And since we've got an electronic system, it's not fully operable. It's going in phases. But if you remember, you purchased GovPilot. That's the system that's being used now. Glenn and Roger gave me a run through on it today. Very impressive system. And eventually we're going to be able to take applications from the outside electronically. But right now, they're processed electronically. People can make appointments for inspections. We can bill electronically and get payments as well. I believe they're taking electronic payments, or they send them in.
No, they
they
send them
email-
in. We don't
they
have the
email the bill.
ability, right, we don't have the ability to do that has to go through the finance first.
They're emailing the billing to the residents right at their homes. So this is, again, statewide process where electronic permitting, and it gives us the ability for that surcharge. There are a number of circumstances that it doesn't apply to. If there's demolition of buildings, if it's a pre-engineered system for a commercial farm building, there are a number of exemptions. And also, there's a different fee schedule of $1 per $1,000 of value of construction. And that is done automatically through the computer based on square footage and the volume of the project. So that's done a different way if it's new construction, say a house or a commercial building. But for the average person that gets a hot water heater, a new furnace, you get some type of run-of-the-mill permit, it'll be $2 per permit.
This isn't mandatory through the state. This is just an option for us to opt into.
Right. Our construction official, who is also the official in another municipality, brought it to us and made us aware of it.
Do we have any extra charges that we're paying for this system that this is
Well, it
supposed to
was
recoup?
$10,000 to buy it. And of course, we have maintenance. Any software has maintenance every year as well.
And is the $2 specifically listed out in the regs, the state regs?
Yes.
And so this ordinance, I just want to make sure I'm understanding it correctly. If, say, the state regs changed in 5 years when they're redone and it went up from $2 to $10, that would automatically,
Right.
under
The
this
way, the way this is structured is whatever the state establishes will follow that.
so
And we don't have to go
automatically.
back. If it goes up to 250, we don't have to modify the ordinance every time there's a modification.
I will just say I have huge concerns with this. I think that this is just an extra tax that we're putting on our residents.
Well, I'll take a motion to introduce the ordinance.
Motion.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I'm a no.
Aye.
So we have,
All in favor?
and Sri, what did you vote?
He said
You heard
yes.
him. Okay, so it's 4-1.
Aye.
And then we will have this on, for public hearing at our next meeting.
27th.
February 27th.
I would like to add just one additional thing. George, can you find out the burden on existing residents if they make changes? I think you said water heater or other this thing, they just pay a $2 fee.
$2.
But what happens? Yeah, what happens if they make any improvements to their house property, like finishing their basement, or if they add a patio or something like that? So just need clarification for that.
Okay. And let me clarify, because the wording of the administrative code says shall collect. So I will verify. It was my impression that this was an optional requirement, but I will double check with Roger and find out if the state is mandating it, if you have electronic or not. So I'll find out as well.
Thank you. That'd be helpful. Could you also circulate the code?
Yeah.
Yeah, and we can discuss that when we have the public hearing. You can give us
Yep.
that feedback. All right, number 7, we have an ordinance for public hearing and adoption. I'd like to open for a public hearing on this ordinance, which is 2025-1, an ordinance to establish annual compensation for the Chesterfield Township Emergency Management Coordinator. And for those of you who, in the audience who haven't seen it, it's $1,000 a year that we're talking about. So can I have a motion to open for public comment? A public hearing, I guess is the right term. All right. Did I have a second?
Yes.
All in
Yeah.
favor? Aye.
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 Do we have anyone in the audience that would like to comment on this ordinance? Anyone online, Karen?
Nope.
Okay, I'll take a motion to close public comment.
Move it.
Second.
All in favor? I'll
Aye.
take a motion to
Aye.
adopt ordinance.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Motion carries, so we've adopted the ordinance. We have several ordinances this evening. The first one, resolution 2025-2-1, refund property overpayment due to veterans exemption. I'll take a motion to pass this ordinance. Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
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 Resolution 2025-2-2, authorizing payment of retainage for the contract with Paving Plus LLC for road improvements to Sykesville Road Phases 4 and 5. I'll take a motion on the ordinance.
So moved.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
You
Resolution,
could probably do the next two together
okay,
since they're both budget.
okay. Resolution 2025-2-3, authorizing emergency temporary appropriation, and Resolution 2025-2-4, authorizing 2024 budget transfers. If we have no discussion, I'll take a motion to approve the resolutions.
Motion.
Second? Have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Rebecca?
Aye.
Okay, thank you.
Resolution 2025-2-5, authorizing application to Sustainable Jersey Green Team Support Grant Program. So this is to authorize to apply for this grant from Sustainable New Jersey. I have a motion to adopt the resolution.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Resolution 2025-2-6, authorizing the exchange of construction code services. I have a motion. Second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Resolution 2025-2-7, authorizing public auction of municipal personal property no longer needed for public use. I have a motion to adopt this resolution.
Motion.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Resolution 2025-2-8, appointing municipal joint insurance fund safety coordinator. Do I have a motion to adopt this resolution?
Motion.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Resolution 2025-2-9, awarding contract to RNM Construction for the Olivia Way Park Improvement Project.
Can I just ask a quick question?
Sure.
I think it's probably for George. So I understand that the funding for the project is from a separate fund, but the engineering services, are they also paid for out of that separate fund?
I know it was $5,000 for Joe's services on this project. Am I right?
I don't know off the top of the hand, but most likely that is coming out of the engineering
I
budget.
think it was straight out of his because we'd expended the money that was previously budgeted because he went through the whole process. So that money was used up. So we did have to fund this separately. And it was through engineering, I believe, general.
That was approved at the last meeting, I'm pretty sure.
Anybody else have questions? If not, I'll take a motion to adopt the resolution.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Moving on to number 9, I'll take a motion to accept the bill list as presented.
What about 10? Do we need to do resolution 10? I have a 10 on my screen.
Well, you know what? That's going to be for, I apologize, that is going to be executive session. So it's going to stop there.
Gotcha. Okay.
So we'll come back up. I like to keep them in order, sorry.
Got it. Thank you.
Yeah, so we will discuss that in there. Yeah.
Sorry.
Yes.
No, that's fine. Do I have a motion to accept the bill list as presented?
Motion.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, reports and discussions. A, we have a memo from the Environmental Commission regarding the Bentley Farm Development Project. And I could provide a little information about this if people would like. So I spoke to Michael Nye, the chair of the planning board, about this. This letter from the Environmental Commission is from February the 10th. At the January meeting of the planning board, Bentley Farms, the DreamWorks, I think is the name of the company, they were given final approval for this project. So what the Environmental Commission is asking for is to do archaeological investigations or digs on this property. So Mike said that we could ask them if they could do that. We could forward this letter. We could ask them that they could do it, but neither the planning board or the township committee would have the ability to make any requirements or ask even of any requirements of them because they've already gotten their final approval. So,
If they say
So I
no,
guess-
then we don't go ahead with the survey? Or,
yeah, I mean, if they were the Environmental Commission wrote a very extensive letter prior to the planning board, and it was obviously shared with the developer prior to the planning board meeting. And they were very, agreeable to pretty much everything. There was one thing, and that was we doing with a pond that they're actually draining for good reason. The engineers agreed that that was the best thing to handle. So everything else they were in agreement to. They may be in agreement with this, but I just wanted to make it clear that we can decide tonight whether we even want to ask it of them or whether we don't, but because they've already gotten final approval, we don't have an ability to, you know, do anything more than just say, hey, we got this. This is a recommendation from our environmental commission. What do you think? And that's really as far as we can go with it. If they say no, then we, you know, because it's already been approved, we can't rescind that approval. So
Hi, Denise, Shrikant here. Is this something that has been reviewed by the Historical Preservation Commission? Because I thought they had a recommendation that we should
no, the
end this.
environmental commission mentioned the HPC on that because it's under their ordinance that the township even has the ability to ask for this. It's in the historical preservation ordinance, but this request is not coming from the Historical Preservation Commission. It's coming from the Environmental Commission. But it's based on an ordinance that's in the historic preservation. And that's more because, you know, if they did do this archaeological dig and found any type of you know, relics or historic relics or whatever, then it would be on the HPC to decide how to maintain them or you know, take pictures or take them and place them with whatever body would be appropriate. So that's the only reason why the HPC is mentioned in that. It hasn't been discussed at all by the HPC. And I don't know if it
Thank
will.
you.
I think it's really a decision we have to make whether we want to make this request to them or whether we don't. Personally, I think why not, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm aligned to,
So
we should make the request
and
and out of the goodness of their heart. Sorry,
I'm sorry, Sri, were you saying something?
I said I'm aligned as well because this is coming in late after we have given the final approval at the planning board as well. So I do think we should present it to them and, you know, hope out of goodness of their heart that they want to do a survey. I don't know the cost, and, you know, if it's a minor cost, I think the developer will be fine. But if it's a significant cost, you know, we don't think we can
Well,
enforce this.
that would all be their decision to make. If
Yes.
they wanted to do it, they would undertake the cost. So, yeah. And I guess that would be certainly part of their decision. Okay, so moving along, Glenn McMahon did provide us with the annual planning board report, and that did go to the planning board in January. They've already reviewed it, but it's also for us to go over. I didn't know if anybody had any comments or questions about that. Okay. Moving along to number 11. I don't have anything at this point in time that I wanted to say on behalf. I didn't know, Shrikant, you are the mayor and you are on the line. Do you have anything that you wanted to report on?
No, not at this point in time.
George, is there anything that you'd like to bring to us
A few
today?
things, thank you. A few weeks ago, I emailed to everyone a draft copy of a damaged mailbox policy. I know we had talked about that, and we had another damaged mailbox this week, and we may have more next week. So to enact the ordinance, it's going to take some time, but that wouldn't prevent us from go ahead and putting the policy. If the committee approves of it, I don't know if you all got a chance to read it or not. If you approve of it, we can put it on the website. We can let the residents know how to proceed if they get damage. Also, we have a reporting form that we can make available to them, and we can make them aware of the guidelines as to how they would get compensated if their mailbox is damaged by our plows. So
I read it and I thought, you know, that the policy makes sense. I fully agree that we should publicize it so people know what to expect.
it is a little stringent, but I can tell you that I didn't create what you saw. That is consistent through several other municipalities. The guidelines about the way the mailbox is designed, particularly if it's already deteriorated, if the box is rusted or the post, then our public works director would have to make a judgment call. I think Troy's a pretty fair guy, and I think he'll use good discretion in the event he finds something that's objectionable to him. But again, if we wanted to get this actually into effect, we could do it before the ordinance, but I wouldn't do that without your blessings.
I feel like I'd be remiss if I didn't ask this question.
Okay?
Is there anything that can be done to not damage the mailboxes to begin with?
Uh,
I
Well, obviously, yes. It's a problem. The good thing is you have an ordinance, and Troy and I talked about this, where people are to remove their vehicles. Okay?
Yeah.
I worked in one town where we had prohibited overnight parking year round. It's great for snow plowing because you can go curb to curb. The problem is when you go curb to curb, you have mailboxes that overhang the curb line and are, great unintended targets for damage with the plows. They're supposed to be installed 6 to 8 inches where the front of the box is a setback from the curb line. I can tell you that the last time we had snow, the one that was damaged, I saw a picture of it before it was damaged on Google Maps. It hung out this much. You know, it's not, it doesn't make somebody a bad person, but a lot of times they're installed and you're trying to make it look good. You're finding the right spot that you're comfortable with, but it creates that problem where, the plows are going to hit it. Also, the weight of snow and ice will often take them down as well. For that, we claim an exemption. If it's not the actual plow, it's to be expected. You're going to have snow, being thrown onto the property. So I
And,
know our people are careful, but
and you told me that this is consistent more or less with what the county does for those residents.
yeah, well, the county
roads.
does everything. They use all different options. I spoke to a woman in the office yesterday, and they replace. Sometimes they compensate with cash, and sometimes they'll go out and put somebody's replacement mailbox in that they already purchased.
Theirs is a little different than this would be, but
Yeah.
this is just has a consistency that I like rather
Yeah.
than saying, well, we'll kind of handle different situations differently.
Don't make winging it.
No, I don't either.
If you want to let me know, or if you have an opinion now, I leave that to you.
I like the idea of
Putting an ordinance,
introducing, making it available to the public, the policy. I think we should discuss the ordinance before we adopt it, but I do like the idea of making the policy available on the website so the residents can see what it is.
well, when you say you want to have a further discussion at a workshop, or what do you mean, Shri?
No, when we introduce it, I just want to make sure what are the differences here compared to the county, and if we are consistent with other townships, I'm in favor of it. Just want to understand what are the differences between the county and ours.
Well, I did speak to a woman in the office at the county engineer. They don't have a written policy. She said that they buy a large stock of mailboxes and post every winter, and they go out and they replace them. Her words were a very cheapo plastic mailbox and a metal pole. She says on occasion their risk management folks will give a payment to the person if they go through the risk management and file a claim. And she says if it's a fancy mailbox and the property owner wants to go and replace it in kind, then at their expense, they can purchase it and their personnel, the county personnel, will go do the installation. So they basically got a policy that they do one of those three things.
And how many of these replacements do we expect to do per year?
I think right
not
now,
very-
for the last two events, what have we had? Maybe three?
Maybe,
Okay.
yeah.
Two or
It-
three?
It's not a large
Okay.
number.
Depends, I
I mean,
think, on how much
It's
snow
not
you
an
get.
epidemic.
When you get
uh,
deep
Yeah.
snow, then
No, that doesn't that wouldn't
well,
matter.
it wouldn't matter because
Right.
of the throwing on it.
Right.
But the problem is that I think people complain if their street is not plowed close to the curb, right? Like,
Yeah.
oh, there's this huge, but when they try to get close to the curb, as George said, then you get these people who, for whether it's the best place to place it or they're trying to do their mail, they think they're doing the mail carrier a favor by getting it really
Yeah.
close and they don't have to lean out, but then it creates more damage. So
I mean, in this event, I believe we had just one.
Okay.
So
It's not a lot. So do we do it ordinance on this, or we just direct that we put the
I was
policy?
gonna ask, if you know, George, I'm not trying to put you on the spot, but like when you saw the neighboring or other municipalities, was it on their books as an ordinance?
yes,
Okay.
there were several that had it on there.
I haven't, just in my experience, I haven't done one particularly.
I wrote up some language consistent with the policy, so
Okay.
I'll share that with you.
I think it's better to do it by ordinance personally, because then it's in your code and it's.
So maybe we could
codified.
get something to introduce at the next meeting? Probably not a
Yeah, I
heavy
could-
lift, right?
All you have to do is
Yeah.
Put
So,
some-
no
put some
problem.
labels on it and it's good to
No
go.
problem.
Okay. Moving along.
Can I do a few more?
Oh, I'm
things?
sorry, George.
Well, Rachel is
No,
here
I
tonight.
apologize.
She gave me 2 internal checklists for township events, and I sent them to everyone on the committee. I don't know if you want to have any discussion about them. One is Porch Fest 2025, and the chief has already submitted on this event and the other, all the road closures that he finds would be necessary for the event. That's on Saturday, May 10th. And we also have the Green Fun Fair, which will be May 4th. And again, the chief has made his notations. Everything else is in order. We would need a signature, I guess, as the acting mayor tonight, if this is approved, but
And Troy put in the notes too for Public Works, I saw.
yes,
correct?
yes, he did.
Yes.
Yep,
On both.
yes, definitely.
I mean,
So-
these are both events that are annual. It's nothing new for us, so I guess
So-
do we need a motion, I guess, to just approve both as presented?
With the road closures,
With the road.
for the road
The road
closures.
closures.
It's for the
Okay,
road
with the road
closures. Mhm.
closures, as spelled out in the forms we got.
Nothing has changed since last year about the road closures, right? They're the same or?
Chief?
I guess-
The road closure for Green Fair is the same. Road closure for Porch Fest is different. It is less impactful to motorists. Basically, we have no closure. We pulled the closure that existed for Stevenson.
Everything will be on Sprague Street this year.
Sprague
Is
and
my
Latham.
understanding.
Sprague and Latham.
Oh, on Latham. Okay.
Oh, thanks, Mike. So that's actually an improvement then. Less road closures.
Yeah.
Great. Okay. So take a motion, I guess, to approve both of these. Second,
Second,
all in favor.
Aye.
aye.
Hi.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead.
I just wanted to say Matt and I met with the Budget Advisory Committee earlier this week, along with George and Wendy. Had some great conversation. We were able to talk to them a little bit. They are going to come to our budget workshop next Thursday and make a presentation to the
Oh,
full
that's
committee.
good.
Just to put that on everybody's radar.
Thank you.
And it's going well, that process?
Yeah, seems to
Yeah.
be.
Great.
Yep.
Well, I
Yeah, it was a good
appreciate
meeting.
your two spending time on this. It's important. Thank you. And I'm sorry, George, you didn't have anything else, did you?
No, I'm done.
Okay. I'm sorry. I'm like moving right along here. Okay. Anybody else have anything they'd like to add on part of the township committee?
Just briefly, I wanted to thank the chief. I mentioned last meeting about concern at Stell Road, and the chief, I think the next day had your equipment up there to measure what was going on. So I appreciated that, chief, and I guess it's to be continued as we discussed. But I appreciated you getting on it right away, and I know the residents did as well.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate that. Okay. Seeing if we have nothing else, I'd like to take a motion to open for public comment.
Move it.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Hi.
Or do we have anyone that would like to make a public comment at this time?
Susie Mayon, 16 Chesterfield Crosswicks Road. I did see on Facebook that they did put out things on the sidewalk maintenance and also the shoveling, which was good. I saw that was good, came out of the last meeting, that discussion, that was great. I just want to ask, as usual, what's the update on the historic preservation ordinance rewriting? When is that going to come about? I mean, we originally talked at the end of December that was going to be draft reviewed by January 9th. Here we are, February. It's the 13th. It's a month later. It's kicked down the road a little bit more. So I'd like some information on that. And then lastly, the only other thing I have to say is that I believe at the planning board meeting, they said that they still had to notify the impacted residents that were surrounded by or that are surrounding that new development, the Bentley Farm. They still had to notify them by registered mail, and that they were going to have an open public hearing for that to completely pass through. I mean, I know it got the final approval from the planning board, but I think there's still a couple more steps to go. And then under the HPC ordinance, it does allow for archaeology to occur, but I guess you'd have to have an archaeologist to do it for you if that's what you want to do through the HPC. So like Denise said, it would fall upon the construction company or builders if that's what they wanted to do. Thank you.
Do we have an estimated timeline now for the HPC? Is that going to
Well,
be on our workshop?
I was going to say, I think, because Dominic did give us his
Yeah.
feedback on
Yeah.
our comments, so I think we should, I was going to say at the end of the meeting, I think we should have a workshop in 2 weeks to discuss it.
That would be in advance of the regular meeting, like, so a
Yeah,
6 to
o'clock
7.
Week workshop meeting. I mean, it's already been publicly announced. We would have
Okay.
had one tonight, except it was canceled because we didn't
Gotcha.
have
Okay.
the business. Am I
Makes sense.
talking into the mic? And that I think we can be moving forward if we did that.
Yeah, that
Is
makes sense.
everyone in agreement with that? Tree, you're not going to be back, but you could always give us, I guess, your opinions in advance, give them to Dominic. And maybe,
That's what I'll do.
would it be appropriate for you to come to that, I think? I think you should.
Probably, yeah, that's the day I'm traveling back, so I
Yeah. You
could
gave,
not dial in from a flight. Yeah.
you had it, if you have an opportunity, hopefully you will, to read through everything that Dominic did, to sort of combine and comment on all of our comments, then you could perhaps give your feedback to Dominic and he could share it with us. Would that be okay with you and with you?
Of course.
That's exactly what I intend to do. I will review it and review your feedback and then have my feedback to Dominic. So I think Dominic will have everything that he needs. And then I think on the 27th, when you have the special or the meeting at 6 p.m., you can, review it with the residents as well.
Okay. I mean, I don't know that we'll get through everything, but at least if we spend an hour on it, we might have to put it off to have more discussion, but at least we'll get started.
I think you're right. I think the best way to begin is to begin.
Yep.
Right. If we wait for the perfect
Yeah.
moment, it's never going to come.
never
I think
gonna
you're right.
happen.
Let's get started.
So let's do that. Do we have anyone else that'd like to make a public comment?
Roseanne Greenberg, 17 Iron Bridge Road, Chair of the Shade Tree Advisory Board. I'd like to thank the Township Committee tonight for their support for the Sustainable Jersey Grant. And I especially like to thank, Mr. Jackson for doing all the work on applying for the grant so we get it in on time. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Roseanne.
Roseanne.
Anyone else that would like to come forward this time? Seeing none. Karen, do we have anyone online?
Nope. Nobody that's saying they want to talk anyway.
Okay, so I'll take a motion to close public comment. Second, all in favor?
Aye.
So we have a number of items this evening, so I'll take a motion to approve Resolution 2025-2-10 for the purpose of negotiation and attorney-client privilege discussion in executive session.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And I think we will
Aye.
possibly have or not a motion afterwards or
long
any
it's gonna
business
take.
or not this evening.
Probably not. No.
Okay. So we will not then.
No.
Leave
I don't want to be like probably.
I'm not going to tell the
Keep
public
people on their
that.
toes. I'm going to keep everyone on their toes.
No, we
Yes,
won't.
we may have another resolution.
We may.
we may have that other resolution.
So that's.
We'll say
so that's-
action may be
that's
taken.
My
if you-
question. So, okay, so we may take action on a resolution depending. So it's possible we take action on a resolution. That was noted in the agenda. Okay. So thank you,
Yep.
Thank you, everyone.
No, motion, right? You guys.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah, I got a motion.
Do you have a
Motion
motion?
is second, and all in favor?
We do. Okay. I lose track sometimes. Okay, thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
This
now-
conference will now be recorded.
Okay, now that we're back in public session, I'll take a motion on
Do we
resolution.
have to add it to the agenda, technically?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was on the, oh, you took it. off.
No, we removed it.
Okay, I'll take a motion to add resolution 2025-2-11
Second.
to the agenda, and I'll take a motion to approve resolution 2025-2-11.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
I'll take a motion to close the meeting. Second.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate Denise you running this meeting, and this works. I could dial in online and it worked really well. So thank you, Karen and George, for making this happen.
No problem.
Good
Good night.
Good night.